they have acquainted with Dharma Master德嘉. Dharma Master德嘉is what Dharma Master德嘉is doing in Great Compassion Academy on hospice is very meaningful and very helpful. I would like to introduce Dharma Master德嘉. In the book about the mystery of life and death, she said that dying probably is the most loss in the life, but could maybe also the most giving, the biggest giving in the life. The hospice care is the medical right that every patient and their family members have. So dying peacefully is beneficial to the patient and also beneficial to their family members. Dharma Master Chia is a lecturer in the university, and she is also specializing hospice care. And she's very busy with the Great Compassion Academy, and we're glad we can invite him.
今年德嘉法师跟宗敦法师得到国际佛教界杰出女性的一个奖，所以我们也很荣幸邀请她来万佛城跟我们。
She was also awarded and with the outstanding women, and we are very glad that we invited Master德嘉to speak to us, and we should learn from her. She said that one night when I was washing hands, I wanted to grab the water, but I couldn't grab anything. Knowing that I cannot grab anything, I feel suffering, and I understand that this is impermanence. From then on, she has been interested in Buddhism. Doing so much, last year, October, she made a documentary video about which named review, which is about the hospice in Taiwan, and we wish that we can learn more from her. She has taught so many patients and their family members, and we wish to learn from her how to live a better life. And welcome Dharma Master Chia to share with us. Thank you, CTP's invitation, and thank you, Dr. Ye and Ms. Chu. I'm very glad tonight that I can share with so many great people about my clinical experience about hospice. Now let's go into my topic. Let me mention first that where I come from. I have some technical difficulty now. Let me deal with that. This PPT is about our beginning of the Compassion Academy. This is the hospice in the hospital of the Taiwan University. The patients there feel very suffering. And when they approach their end of life, they feel more suffering in their mind. Because of their suffering, they invited us to do some research in this hospice environment. And was hosted by a professor and implemented by the Dharma Masters. After more than 10 years, we found out that the hospice caring like this is really helpful to those patients who are dying, and it's very effective. But when the patients were cared very nicely, they wouldn't want to leave we don't want to leave the hospital. And when the normal patients being cared like this, they wouldn't want to leave the hospital, wouldn't want to be discharged. They just want to stay in the hospital because it's so comfortable. But the problem was not wanting to build this chart is that this carrying hospital is to carry patients, but wishing them to recover and go on with their life. But once the patient are discharged, when they go back to home, the resources are gone. So when they again experience pain, they don't know what to do. So at that time, so then when we were in the hospital University of Taiwan University, we felt that the whole community needed more support for more people. So about 13 years ago, we walked out of the hospital and we set up the Great Compassion Academy. Then at that time we were training monastics in that academy. And later on, we saw the needs from the community and we saw the needs for more people. So we started this academy to train more volunteers who can walk into the community to help those who are suffering from pain in the community and who are lacking resource in the community. And that's how this Great Compassion Academy began. This is our ceremony for the beginning. Now, my PPT is kind of out of sequence, but since we're here, let's just talk about this slide. I met a professor who mentioned that let me first see what's happening to my PPT. Okay, I got it. My mistake. I have 30 minutes talk. First, I would like to introduce people about this show, this stage show. This is a show about listen to your body. This show reflects what I often see when I was in clinical settings. I record down what they said. The actors in this show are volunteers, and we wish that this show become a teaching resource to teach volunteers how to care for the patients. Let's watch this 7-minute show first.
119送达，病人没有呼吸，没有心跳，血压量不到。
知道了。CPR，好，给我吸管内管，准备呼吸器。
内管，呼吸，好，对。
好，好，我听一下后心。好，继续 CPR，好。接上呼吸器，
加呼吸器，
氧气调到100，
好，100%。 没有心跳，血压量不到。
给我波斯蜜，
波斯蜜一支，
接上升压剂，
加升压剂，
接上输液，
加上输液。没有心跳，血压量不到。
再给我波斯蜜，
波斯蜜一支，
升压剂调高，
调高
输液调快，
调快。没有心跳，血压量不到。
再给我波斯蜜，
波斯蜜一支，还是没有心跳，还是没有血压。
请家属进来，我来说明。
临床法师常常穿梭于死亡现场，看多了一幕幕生离死别，更让我明白过度的医疗给病人带来的痛苦。很多人不相信心灵的力量可以超越死亡所带来严酷的考验，而造成永远也回不来的遗憾。到底要怎么做才是善终呢？我好害怕，我好害怕，快掉下去了，我快掉下去了！好吵啊，可不可以不要有声音？
叔，我拜托你，你一定要给我救。
我拜托你们不要再吵了，你们两个人可不可以和好？我又没做错事，干嘛烧我？
我想回家，我要回家，带我回家。
我不算在打架了，我不算在打架了。病人的声音不计其数，一幕幕闪过我眼前的惊恐、害怕、逃避的景象，却没有一个是留得住的。送走迎来一个又一个相同的际遇，相同的结果，却有着迥然不同的风景。
为什么？为什么？为什么我还在这里？
你头壳在起笑哟啊！你头壳在起笑啊！哎，好啊，好啊！
医生，我拜托你不要再救我了，我真的好痛苦哦！
医生，求求你，一定要救救我女儿！求求你，一定要救救我女儿！
吃一点嘛，妈，你为什么就是不吃？你为什么就是不能明白我的心呢？来吃一口嘛。
我根本就吃不下，你只会一直叫我吃，你这样是在照顾我吗？根本是在折磨我啊！
我怎么会是在折磨你？我都是为了你好，你不吃怎么会有体力？来吃一口啦，吃一口。
你老实跟我讲，我是不是要死啊？我是不是要死啊？
迄师傅唔知为对来，你莫记啊，听伊讲白讲啦。你真健康，好。来啦来啦，
给加果啦。
家属以为这是在保护，实际上狠心的让病人 独自面对所有的痛苦与害怕。这些想要保护病人的家属，却不见陪葬的病人，最后终须独行。到底是谁的害怕阻挡了这一切？主观又自以为是的骄慢，充斥在每个人心里。
所以刚他们没看到。好，先来讲吧，我找一下。刚刚我的电脑好像有一些状况，我这样子的声音大家可以听得到吗？
There's something wrong with the computer. Can you hear me?
对哦，好，那就让我去看看我的电脑到底出了什么状况。所以刚刚大家看的这个影片哈，会让
So you've seen this show. How do you think about any reflections about it? So we use a show to stress what I wrote down during my experience as a clinical chaplain. This inner voice is not just single word utterance. Many people have this voice when they are dying. What do you think? Any thoughts? In Taiwan, there was an expert about life and death. We talked to him a few days ago, and he mentioned the spiritual care about dying patients. He said that just have a good death. Why do we need to understand so much? Why do we need to do the care of spiritual care? What everybody here think? You saw in the show that the needs from the patients and their family members, if their needs cannot be met when they are dying, if they cannot be understood when they're dying, what do you think? Do you think it is possible to have a good death? The good death, the road to good death is so long and so far. So today, our topic is the mystery of birth and death. And this is the poster of the show that we just showed you. And this is the documentary of code review. In this documentary code review, we worked on 3 dying patients. I'm very thankful to them. When they are reported their death, they were willing to be recorded. Guan Wei is in his 30s, and he's in great fear when he's approaching death. And he met the great compassion. And during the process of his being cared when he's dying, he at the last stage, he was able to lack something for his twin son. And Yaohua is a successful high manager in her 50s. When she was in hospital, she saw a lot of ghosts because she's in hospice. She often see other patients coming in and out, and she was in great fear. She felt that there's a lot of ghosts around her. But when she came home, she was worried because she was worried that nobody professionally can take care of her. So she was in dilemma of in hospital and out of hospital. She was in and out very frequently, and she's not settled in her mind. She was seeing high dose of medicine, but she's still in asthma a lot. So in such situations, she was transferred to the Great Compassion Academy. After transferring, in the last 51 days of her life, she never went to the hospital again, because what she wanted the most was to be at home. So the hospital staff was very surprised because her lung, the X-ray of her lung was become whiter and whiter, so she was worse and worse in condition. However, even though her body went down more and more, she didn't feel that suffering. Yishan was in her 40s and also very capable. She felt that nothing in the world can beat her. During the short 20-some days when she was in Great Compassion Academy, she felt peaceful. So she talked to her. She did a video for her children. She said, if you feel the wind, feel the sunshine, that's all the love from your mom. And she was peaceful, and she also made her child peaceful. Her child, when she was dying, the child said, my mom has a body, so she has to die, but her love will not die, will be always with me. So Guanwei, Yishan, Yaohua, these three patients are very typical among dying patients. And after being cared like this, they were transformed. No matter for both the mystery of life and death, the drama we just saw, Listen to Inner Voice, or the review, all this documentary showed the care model that we use to use ancient wisdom on our modern days. How did we use the wisdom of Buddha Dharma to the dying patients on their spiritual care?
先打岔一下，你要重新分享你的荧幕，然后把原来那个 video 那个关掉，要不然的话这个会不够清晰。你在放影片的时候，你要选那个。
There's some discussion about the technical difficulty. Jing Yongshi is telling Dharma Master to reshare the screen so that it can become more clear. How about now?
你有那个没有在选那个video 那个地方吧？左下角那边。你要选。你要选。
Yeah, so
这样子影像还是模糊吗？
Is this still blurry or is it clear?
对，在留言上面有说清晰的哈。
It's clear now.
我就回到我们刚刚的话题哈。
Let's go back to our topic.
那刚刚说的那3部，我们有一个照顾模式。
We have a structure for the spiritual care.
那因为时间有限，我没有办法细说。
Because time limit, I cannot talk about it in detail. But what I want to say is that when we take our patients, we will evaluate their status, their stage, and according to the condition, we'll provide a appropriate plan for their care. There's a sequence in our care. From this structure, we can see that accepting death is about the social acceptance, and no matter about the three show we talk about, or the normal people in Taiwan, the people will say that the Great Compassion Academy taking a patient without using Buddha didn't talk about Buddha Dharma, but in fact, when we talk to the family members, we are mostly talking about the family minor stuff, the daily life, about daily life. People might think we are not talking about Dobra Dharma, but in fact, the reason we live as a human being in the world, in the family, it's the family's impact is very big. When people are approaching their death, their worldly achievements are not the most important. When they're dying, the family members are most important to them. That's why we care. We begin with caring with the patient and care with their family members. This structure shows that below accepting death, there's a lot of issues about not putting down, not letting go, not in a peaceful mind. If they cannot deal with this, if they cannot let go and put down, they cannot connect to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's very difficult for them to do that. So for Buddhists, when we care for the patients, people tend to neglect their tendency of not be able to letting go or putting down their worries. A lot of people, their worries, where are they worry about where they're going. If they cannot resolve this issue, their development in their spiritual life is very difficult. So when I was in my clinical experience, if people would say, if you want me to say sorry, want me to say thank you, anything, I did it, but deep down, I still feel a lot of fear. If they cannot handle the fear, then it's very hard for them to continue their journey. So that's why we emphasize this structure. When we take care of the dying patients, we are preparing them for their death. There are three major aspects. This is echo with the structure of the spiritual care. The first is their improvement, their topic of their spiritual caring, which gives them strength to grow in the spiritual life. They need to learn some Dharma. Death is the state of emptiness, nothingness. To prepare them for going to this emptiness or nothingness is almost impossible. There's a big gap. Their fear will be great. So when we care for their spiritual, we are preparing them mentally for their death. So to prepare for theirs and to prepare for their next life is important. For example, when we get a case, we'll first start with their family, which is major impact factor for their whole life. We'll evaluate their family status. We can see from this graph, where we highlight is this patient. We will see where his problem is. Is that in his own personal issue or from his family? We'll use skillful listening and talking to see where their state is at. This is a more complicated chart. This old lady has a lot of afflictions. We first need to understand her family very clearly in detail. And this is the chart for his family members. And this shows you how we take care of the patients. Our model is that in the beginning, the foundation is to establish a connection with the patient. We're not trying to invade into their privacy area. We're just evaluating what difficulties they're facing. They are transferred to us because they have difficulties. If people are in peace, they're not gonna be transferred to us. So we need to evaluate what problem they have, what troubles they're facing, and based on that, we'll set up the plan for them. Once we have the plan, we'll implement it. When we implement plan, we'll use all kinds of Dharma doors, different methods to help the patients. And then we'll come back to evaluate again to see if our plan, if our implementation has helped the patient. If there's no help, then maybe our plan or evaluation is not right, or maybe we didn't do a good implementation of the plan. We have to reevaluate again and again to see how did we do it. So first, we establish a connection with the patient, and then we evaluate the problem. And then when the next one is how to talk about that to them, how to guide them to use different Dharma doors. As for example, for Christian, they'll pray, and during praying they'll experience peaceful. And for Buddhists, is reciting the Buddhism only the 4 characters? If it's there's a deep knowledge in that. When they implement it, they'll feel it. If they have a strong feeling about it, more understanding about it, then it's more effective. We need to help them to understand the process of dying, the breaking down, the parting of the 4 great elements. There's many cases where the patient has died, and the family members are very, very sad. So I told them, your dad has died peacefully. Why are you so sad? Why are you so sad? And the family member said, the son said, I saw my dad was crying. I'm so sad that he was dying. But this is actually a natural process of dying. So he was wondering why I've tried all my best, why my dad died in crying. But if you understand the natural process of parting the 4 elements, you understand that having tears out is actually a natural process. And then we are training the volunteers, about 2 to 3 persons in a group. They take our patients together, and after the patients died, they'll also take care of the family members continuously. We'll talk to them. They'll have a lot of charts to fill in, and there's 2 kinds of charts. One is the chart for body and mind records, and the other is the behavioral records. They reflect and observe either verbally or non-verbally, and they have to reflect the volunteers need to reflect their own minds. They need to feel how the words and non-words are going through this process. The volunteers need to reflect and look at their own mind and reflect upon themselves. So these are all going back to our own cultivation. We always tend to look outside and not has a habit to look inside. So these volunteers, when they going through this volunteering process, helping the dying patients, we want them to look at themselves and look at this as a learning process and cultivation. Sometimes volunteers become frustrated and very sad, and it's very hard for them to go out of this stage. From my experience, when dealing with patients, you'll feel very sad and frustrated. That is because you are putting yourself in a higher position than the patients, thinking you can help them. But if you adjust your position, they will be different. We have some very practical Dharma doors to take care of the dying patients. You are mostly Buddhist, so maybe you think these Dharma doors are familiar, but it's kind of different because we're taking care of the dying patient. Their health condition is different from us, so our methods are kind of different too. we have 6 methods. These are from our clinical experience that we developed these 6 methods. These 6 methods actually interact with each other. So what? So what is good death? First, they need to understand that they're going to die. They're dying. And he needs to accept this fact peacefully and calmly. And then most of them will say, my life is meaningless. Then we need to make sure that they understand and has positive attitude toward the meaning of the maintenance of their life, the meaning of their life. And then their wish need to be fulfilled. A lot of them, actually the dying is a process of renunciating. So when they have the wish, they try to grab their wishes, so we have to observe what are their mental status is. And then there's a lot of repentance and saying goodbye to their family members and friends. Then after their death, they need to know that after they die, everything will be taken care of. And then they need to have their family member to accompany them, and their bodily pain needs to be relieved. And they need to find a method to calm their body and mind. They need to have a goal, and they need to know where they're going to after their death. They need to know where they're going to. In the Akotarika Agama, there's a lot of talkings about how to take care of dying patients. But I think my time is almost there. You can, the coach said you can go ahead and talk more if you wish. I heard that many people have read the book of the mystery of birth and death, and many people have watched the documentary video of review. If people have questions, I can answer some question online now. I see a question. What is to accomplish the 4 ways? It's saying goodbye. We are gonna end our life now. How do we say farewell, goodbye to our family members? If we fail to say goodbye, those who are dying will feel unsettled, and who remain in the world will feel unsettled as well. So the second is how to say love, how to express love, how to say thank you, how to express their gratitude and love to people. And the last one is how to say sorry. This is the 4 sayings: saying goodbye, saying love, saying thank you, and saying sorry. So towards you feel that you are guilty for say sorry sincerely. Any more questions? I'm very grateful that people are giving me encouragement. Am I saying too fast that I finish all the topic already? Thank you, Dr. Jia. May I ask a question? We saw the drama which reflects your personal experience in the clinical settings. I would like to ask, during all this scenario that you saw, which was the most difficult situation to deal with?
所以那个我们漂亮的主持人要问的是，在照顾病人上面。
So, I was asked what was the most difficult topic when caring for patients. That is death.
无非是死亡，要一个人去面对死亡，真的是一个很艰难。
Asking a person to face death is very difficult.
对啊，所以在我们临床上面，我们就发展了一些。
In clinical settings, we developed different ways to accompany them, to be with them. When a person faces death, he needs to deal with all the worries and fear. Only after dealing with fear and worry, he can smoothly go to the future world. So the most difficult issue is to face death. Is that the satisfactory answer? So someone is asking, during the last days of death, is it to accomplish this poor saying? It must be difficult. It must be very hard. Yes, it is very hard. Dental nurses can go by the bedside of the patient, explaining impermanence, explaining origination, explaining how to let go, how to put down. Sometimes the patient can accept it, but most time it's very difficult. So during the Buddha's time, the Buddha will visit the picture who is ill. He will personally take care of cleaning, feeding the patient, explain the death to the patient. Now we're in Dharma Ani age. We as the caregiver, we're not as capable as Buddha, and the patients are not doesn't have such a sharp good roots as the old days. So it's very difficult. Why do we need to train the Dharma masters to take care of patients? Because a lot of Buddhists think that emotion is not good. So they will say, "Oh, don't get involved in those emotional moments. Jump out of it." But it's not. That's not right. We need to train the volunteers and the masters to face all these. We have many courses for that. We have 56 classes to train everybody for both body and mind. After being trained, they'll have a few months as an intern to take care of the dying patients. During this process, they are guided by the senior volunteers or Dharma masters. It's very difficult to get involved in the worldly, especially dying process. It's not like you just go there. Oh, come on, I'll talk to you about death and death. It's not that easy. It's a very deep knowledge. In order to establish a good connection with trust with the patients, there's a chart that I showed. The man was divorced and his younger brother has died, and he has 2 children. When we see the patient, if we cannot understand their own situation, how can we help them? How can we understand their feelings? How can we accept their emotions? That person was worried after his death. What will happen to his parents and his children? So he's very worried. He worried how to deal with his current suffering. These are all very practical issues. But what is the deeper problem? The deeper problem is that he's only 56. He's divorced. Is there anything, is the divorce has anything to do with his divorce? He's still very young, but he has been ill for a long time. How did he look at himself? How did he look at his whole life? Once we understand how he see himself, how he see his whole life, we'll understand why he's so depressed, why he wouldn't say anything, why he's always angry. After we understand his situation, we understand his feeling, and we understand why everything is like this. And that's how we walk into his mind, his heart, and how can we equally talk to him in equal position. Gradually, the patient establishes a trust relation with us. It's not from one or two beating. It's a very long process. How do I describe a spiritual caring? It's like we dance with the patients. It looks like we're leading them to dance. Actually, we are led by the patient in the dancing process. We let the patient to lead us. If they want to go back, we go forward. If they go forward, we go back to dance with them. But if the action is too big, then they might fall down. Then we have to gently help them up. But we cannot let them help that we're helping. We have to expect. We have to have them have their self-respect. Our mind and heart are connected. We need to go with the patient pace, go with the patient choice. We have to let by the patients. We have to accept their choices. We need to understand what they're thinking about. This is like psychology. And also we need to understand what their family members are thinking about. We understand patient from all aspects. Oftentimes, when we take a patient, we're very angry. We come back very angry. When this patient was young, he's such a bad person. Why we still take care of him when he's dying? Such a bad person. Why would we take care of him? But then, once we understand more about psychology, we'll understand more about his family, his origin family. We'll understand more. We'll look at this person from different angle, and then we have a broader mind. We have a bigger heart, and we can understand more. This question, according to your experience, how many people, when they're leaving their world, they can see the scenery of another world? This happens very often. A lot of people, when they're dying, they see something. Some people could see very beautiful scenery, but more are seeing people who have passed away come to welcome them. The more important thing is when they see what they saw, what their reaction was like. Some people was very happy when they saw something. Some people became, when they see something, they became very in severe fear. One was shaking under the bed. So we'll see what their emotional reaction when they see what they saw. Then we'll understand whether they're calmful or peaceful in their mind. The training about empathy and sympathy is very important. Somebody asked why when after people death, they are still have tears going out, because that's the parting of the four elements. People are composed of earth, water, wind, and fire. So the tears are the water. So during the very last moment, during the ending age, all these four elements are parting. So the tear is what we can see as water coming out. Usually, the people's body are pretty wet, and some are sweating. Some their eyes become swelling. Some their urination become less and less. They stop urinating. From all this stage, we can see where they are in their dying stage. So sometimes it seems as if the people are crying, but it's actually just a very normal physical reaction to the dying. It's not psychological. It's not really crying per se. It's really just a physical reaction.
德嘉法师有一个新的问题。
This is a new question. Oh, for those Alzheimer patients, how can we deal with their dying process, because they've already forgot their family members? They've lost their memory. They couldn't even eat any food. This situation, we need professional people to care, because as Alzheimer is a different situation. We need some professional doctors to help with them. We did take up some Alzheimer's in the patients when they're dying. The family members are usually very feel hopeless, because this Alzheimer's disease is special. It's a disease that we need to take up them with their disease. Just like if they have stomachache, then they need to take special medicine for stomachache. Even though you tell them not to be painful, they still be painful for the stomachache, for their disease. So they need medicine to help. So they need family support, Alzheimer's as well. So in the drama, people have all kind of voice from their inner voice. Are they due to the four elements parting? Some of them are, some of them are not. So when in the drama, one was saying, "I'm falling, I'm falling." That is actually part of the parting of the four elements. This become very heavy. One is feeling, "Oh, I see Buddhas are fighting." That is actually mental status. That's a true story of a patient I took care of. The whole night she was saying, "The Buddhas are fighting each other." That's just an illusion. The delusion as psychic delusion status. And the wife saying, "No, how can Buddha and Bodhisattva fighting?" And then the patient said, "No, I don't want to talk to you. I just want to the masters." Why he was saying Buddha and Bodhisattva fighting is because the day before that day, I took a Buddha statue to him. And I asked him to contemplate the Buddha's image into his mind and to practice. This patient was in his 50s, and he listened to my words, and he was carefully contemplating the Buddhas. But on that day, there's some situation to his illness, so his mental status was not very correct. So what he saw was wrong. For the Buddha, he saw the total distortion of the Buddha image. The feet and head was all out of place. He wasn't able to position back all these parts of the Buddha image. Because he was deluded, he was illusory, he didn't know what to do with it. So that's why he was saying he saw Buddha and Buddha were fighting. I know which stage he was seeing. So when he told me that he saw Buddha and Buddha were fighting, So we need to we don't judge them based on their words when they're dying. When they were like this, we don't say to them, "Oh, you're just in delusion. You're just imagining things." Buddhists often say, "Oh, I'm dying. I see all these past debtors are coming to me to ask for debt for me to pay." Sometimes we scold them and say, "Oh, you're facing where your debt have debt for are coming to punish you." We shouldn't say that to them. We need to understand what's really happening, and we still give them warmth and console them. The reason we are human beings, no matter we are men or women, old or young, why we're all human beings? Because we have the similarities as a human being. So when we so as for those volunteers, we emphasize the aspect that they need to reflect upon themselves. We ask them why, when you see that scenario, you become so fearful, but the other volunteer wouldn't be fearful. When you feel so sad, but the others are not sad, you need to look deeply into your mind. Something is reflected from your mind. If you understand yourself enough, you can then help others and connect to others. So we put a lot of emphasis on understanding ourselves as volunteers. It's a cultivation process. When I first start this this job, I was very sad. It's very difficult for me. I would say jokes to others. I would lock myself in the Buddha hole to actually scold the Buddhas because I feel so helpless. I don't know what to do. I was very angry. I was angry at myself for my uselessness. It was a long time that I adjust myself, that I could start like this. So that's why I would go to Guanxin Bodhisattva saying, "Why you are sitting up there and not helping me at all? You are all good, but I am so suffering. Tell me, what should I do? How can I deal with the eyes of the patients?" I was letting my emotion out. I was crying and scolding. In the end, I would say, "I really don't know what to do. Why don't you help me? Why don't you give me strength? Why don't you show me the light?" Surprisingly, after I let out all my emotion, because of the help from the Bodhisattvas and Buddhas, I often experience unexpected results. Something would happen, some light will shine, something will turn around. That's how I dealt with this a long time ago. We don't charge anything when we take care of the patients. It's free. We also use our own money to help out the patients, because most of the people who were transferred to us are in poverty. We are dealing with the borderlines of those citizens. They are already in a very desperate situation. How can we charge fees from them? So we are poor too. So when we wanted to produce that show, we have to be supported by other organizations. can you talk about if people want to be trained as a volunteer, how can they be trained? Oh, they can go to our website. We just finished our courses and people are in their internship now. From next year in March, we're going to start a new session and everybody can go to our website to see our recruitment process. Every year we recruit people, recruit volunteers. In the chat box, there's a website. Any recruitment requirements? Oh, we want them to have be purity in their mind. They shouldn't be too old, preferably under 60 years of old, of 6 years, 60, preferably under 60. Men or women, both men and women are fine. We hope they can learn happily. We have a lot of very capable people. They want to teach others. If you use that attitude, usually they cannot stay long because dying is so complicated. If you feel that you want to teach others and others has to listen to you, then that's not the attitude. That's not the right attitude. How can people listen to you? It's not possible. And what if the patient has no religion? No matter what religion we have, I've taken up different religions as well. In the end, Allah and Amitabha will hug each other. There's no line between religion. We just care for people's worries. No matter which religion we have, the inner state of our mind are the same. We just come from the patient's perspective. Whatever they feel comfortable, do it for them. I remember Dr. Jin Yung take off a patient in Taiwan University. It was in sunset. Dr. Yung was with his sash and comforting a grandpa, an old lady, in very gently. It gave me a very big impression. There's no distance between religions. For laypersons who take care of their own family members, it's a big topic as well. You need to first understand, just as the structure shows, you have to first understand the patient. Understand what's their inner voice. When we see they're crying, when we know the patient are worried, we don't say, why do you cry? Why do you have so many worries? We don't say that. We don't say, don't cry. We don't say that. Don't use that attitude. We have to first organize our own emotion, and we sit down and we ask them, what are you worrying about? What are you sad for? Do you need something? Do you need to help you? Do you need any help? It's a big topic. It's big knowledge. Although everybody is overseas, I wish I can go there to share with you. We have a training overseas. It's very good. Can people ask, can 59 years old learn this? Okay, then hurry up. Can you learn in America? Oh, we have online course this year. We have entry level and advanced level. So entry level is to let more people to know about it. Maybe it's okay. Maybe it's possible to let the entry level reach the overseas. and then you can learn more advanced level and go to Taiwan to practice in the Great Compassion Academy. Some people learned the actual level course, but didn't really practice in the Great Compassion Academy. Someone came from America or Japan to learn and then go back to their homeland. They also have an impactful practice there too. So it's very helpful. We hope that the seeds can grow all over the world. No matter if you're a layperson or vendors, you can all apply for this program. If people invite me to mainland China, I'll be glad to go as well. I've been to Xiamen before and found out that the mainland China needs this service. Okay, time's up. Almost all questions has been answered. I'll give it back to our host. Thank you very much,德嘉, to share with us your what you learned, what you experienced. It's very beneficial to us. When I was in San Francisco, I also had some training in the mind directions. I also saw similar situations as you showed in the drama. In the hospital, sometimes the CPR or whatever emergency treatment actually bring more suffering to the patient, and their family members can experience that too. So taking care of patients is taking care of a lot of people. Thank you, the Master, to show us how to take care of not only the dying patient, but also more people, and to make us live more meaningfully in our current life. Any more questions? No more questions. Thank you very much,德嘉, to share with us. I'm sure everybody learned a lot. And hopefully people can bring that back to their own life and enrich their life and care more about others. Welcome德嘉to come again in the future. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, CB. Thank you, host. Thank you, the invitation from Dr. Yang. Thank you, Master Chia. Hopefully the COVID will end soon and we can all go visit you. Next week, we'll have Professor Wu with us to talk about past life and this life. It's an interesting topic, and it's related to this talk as well. Welcome everybody to come again, join again next week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr.德嘉's wonderful talk. And thank you, Winston's moderation. Let's do a transference. We'll use Chinese for transference.
愿以此功德庄严佛净土，上报四重恩，下济三途苦。若有见闻者，悉发菩提心，尽此一报身， 风声熄了火。3拍。你老和尚。阿弥陀佛，谢谢大家的参与，谢谢刘洋的翻译。阿弥陀佛，
阿弥陀佛，
阿弥陀佛。